And welcome to the City of Petaluma regular meeting of the City Council and the Petaluma Community Development Successor Agency for Monday, October 5th. Can we roll call, please?
Barrett.
Here.
Fisher.
Here.
Healy.
Here.
Kearney.
Here.
King.
Here.
McDonald.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
All members are present.
Facilitate public comment, and I see it looks like 7 hands are up. So we'll 3 minutes each, if you would.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There are now 9 hands up, so I think I'd recommend if we're trying to stay within 20 minutes.
Yes, okay. That number jumped. We will go to 2 minutes each for public comment.
My name is Scott Springhorn. I attest and affirm the following statements are true, accurate, and within my personal knowledge. I've spoken publicly many times about the critical need for a wireless antenna need test conducted by a professional engineer and a 12-month report of anonymous wireless call logs for the 3-mile area around the Petaluma Creamery. We have been told many times by the M Group that they are working on it and it will be ordered as soon. As of today, we still have not been notified that it has been ordered. The current tolling agreement for this project extends the deadline for a final decision to January 29th, 2021. This date may seem far away, but it is not. There are 3 bodies that must rule on this project. The HCPC will begin hearings in November, the Planning Commission in December, and the City Council in late January. The M Group therefore must order a drive test and demand these call logs as soon as possible. The M Group also told us that there has been no new submittals for the applicants. Therefore, it is safe to conclude that the applicants are sticking with their original plans, not respecting our local municipal code, which calls for them to scale their project back from a maximum of 500,000 watts to 1,500 watts. That decision by the applicant could be setting up a real fight, which could land the city in court. If the applicant is also unwilling to voluntarily provide these requested anonymous call logs to show the percentage of completed versus dropped calls in a 3-mile radius of the Petaluma Creamery, then the city must demand these records. It has been over 6 weeks since the city first asked for these call logs. Not providing this data is bad faith on the applicant's part, which in addition to not submitting a new proposal to address the new minor facility, not being up to compliance with this ammonia cooling system, being out of compliance with the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, and not giving up relevant information requested by the city. These applicants are not being respectful neighbors, but are only interested in the bottom line at the expense of the public safety, privacy, and property values of the Petaluma residents in the surrounding area. I ask again that the M Group order the drive test and require Verizon to submit the call logs as soon as possible. By doing so, the city is doing its best and protect itself from a lawsuit. I've expressed no matter of mere concern, but solely matters of substance, fact, and law. Thank you for your time.
My name is Catherine Dodd. I'm a registered nurse and an active member of the Alliance of Nurses for Healthy Environments. I'm speaking against the cell tower at the Petaluma Creamery. I'd like to associate myself with remarks of Mr. Springhorn. I realize that environmental and health issues can't be used as a reason to deny approvals for cell antennas, but as the planners and decision makers about the future of Petaluma, I believe it's essential that you make your decisions with the understanding of the scientifically proven effects of exposure to RFR. There are over 1,200 peer-reviewed scientific articles from studies that document damage to cells, including the breakage of DNA strands. Unfortunately, the scientific debate's been hijacked by corporate interests from telecom industry who espouse that non-ionizing radiation is not dangerous because it doesn't have thermal effects. Have any of you ever picked up your phone or laptop and felt how warm it is? That's a thermal effect. The guidelines were set in 1996 by physicists and engineers with no biological or health expertise. Today, we are chronically exposed 24/7 to non-ionizing radiation from multiple antennas, which increase based on the power levels, which were just discussed. We're not talking about just exposures from antennas atop buildings, but also from cell phones. Longitudinal studies show adverse effects from during pregnancy. They also show increased diabetes in adolescents. Several of you expressed concern about climate change. I encourage you to realize that wireless radiation is an energy guzzler, and I hope that you will engage in the future collaboration to bring fiber optic cable to and through the premises. Mayor Barrett, you stated your priorities are listen to residents, do what's best for the people in the neighborhoods of Petaluma, keep the long-term impacts of today's decisions in mind at all time. This is an opportunity to do just that. Don't ruin the aesthetic charm of the downtown with this antenna, and plan for the future with fiber, not a proliferation of profit antennas.
It can be quite traumatizing to not feel safety or solace in and around your own home. There's no place to go to get away from the noise emitted by the Petaluma Creamery cooling tower. It can begin at 6 a.m. or 10 p.m. It can go on for a few minutes or many hours. It has been incredibly harmful to my quality of life and psyche over the last few months. As a nurse, I work with Special Forces veterans and traumatized people. I am noticing in myself similar symptoms from hearing this sound while at home. I understand both the owner of the creamery and the engineer do not hear this sound. The owner has been invalidating, discrediting, aggressive, and bullying. There are ample reports of people being under great distress of low frequency noise, often not heard by others. If no support or remediation is given, hearing the sound elicits increased emotional reactions that have adverse health consequences. Reported symptoms from neighbors are headaches, anxiety, reduced work performance, disturbed rest, concentration difficulties, and irritation. The throbbing characteristic of this low frequency noise contributes to a feeling of anger, resentment, and discomfort occurring as the noise intrudes into our thoughts and moods or interferes with activity. I know it does not violate the noise ordinance. Low frequency noise is not equally loud to mid and high frequency sound. There are secondary phenomena that occur in the form of vibration, rattling, and permeation of structures like windows and walls. Low frequency sounds are less well habituated to as compared to higher frequency sounds, meaning that the longer this goes on, the deeper our mental and physical health will decline. Effects due to lower frequency components are estimated to be more severe than for community noise in general, leading to public health problems. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter, and I look forward to hearing what we as a community can do with the creamery to remedy this.
Hi, my name is Everly Ewing. The Petaluma Creamery is damaging the health of my neighborhood. I'm not speaking about the Verizon project. I'm talking about the deterioration of the neighborhood since the creamery changed ownership. Personally speaking, noise is the primary problem, but that's not the only issue. The creamery has ignored clean air laws, illegally discharged sewage, contaminated our river. Diesel trucks idle illegally, releasing cancer-causing pollutants. Its ammonia-based cooling system is undergoing upgrades required for proper management of toxic chemicals. If this system had been well maintained, why is it now taking months to repair? There have been 2 fires in the facility in the past few years, the most recent one in June. The fire occurred in an area which appears to be close to the ammonia system. The fire department report does not show that there was any kind of investigation as to why this fire occurred. How much of a risk did that pose to the neighborhood's health and safety? The Petaluma Creamery that exists today in no way resembles the one that was operating when we bought our home over 30 years ago. Last week, I talked to several truckers as they idled their diesel engines. They were bringing milk in from Idaho, and they bring in multiple shipments a week. Its main purpose is no longer to serve local dairies. Back to the noise issue. This is being created by a cooling tower. I would rather listen to a leaf blower than the noise it creates. We have tried for years to work with the owner. We've even offered multiple times to pay for an acoustic consultant to analyze the noise and to look at remedies, which might not even be that costly. The owner continues to ignore complaints, ignore offers of help, and most recently said his lawyer told him he does not need to speak with us. This is why we felt there was no alternative than to bring it to the council's attention. What can the city do? One thing is to change the noise ordinance. An engineer at a local acoustic company told us that Petaluma's noise ordinance is too lenient and too simplistic. Its allowable noise levels are far higher than many larger cities. Our noise ordinance does not regulate low frequency noise, which is well recognized to be the most annoying. Other cities do this. Finally, the city needs to stop making allowances which have permitted health protecting regulations to be ignored. Thank you so much.
My name is Samantha Buller, and I would like to note that the Petaluma Creamery is still out of compliance with its ammonia cooling system, as well as out of compliance with the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. On July 24th, 2020, the M Group and the Planning Department sent a letter to the applicant of the 16 antenna wireless project stating some of the following. The city raised concerns regarding the ammonia refrigeration system and other issues that have not been addressed by the creamery. Given the safety concerns identified in these reports, the Planning Division also determined that it could not recommend support of the proposal and was prepared to recommend denial of the 16 antenna project at the publicly noticed Planning Commission. The applicant and Verizon again asked for the tolling agreement date to be pushed out to have more time to look at these issues. The M Group stated that in order for this application to be eligible for approval, the creamery needed to fix or replace the ammonia cooling system and submit a new project plan that would be consistent with its status as a minor wireless facility. Neither have been completed to date. It should also be explained that according to the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, that the Petaluma Creamery has been out of compliance with its boilers and certain emissions since 2007. They have opened and closed multiple applications to do the work in the time since, and compliance has not been reached as the applicant, the Petaluma Creamery, incorrectly kept filing out their applications with the BAA QMD. The most recent application is opened and it has been determined that it must have the work completed by December 31st, 2020. As of today, the work is still not done and they are out of compliance. The applicant and the creamery have not dealt with these issues for years, and even after 16 months of this proposed project, the city has asked the creamery and the applicant to deal with these issues and have given them ample time to do this. The applicant will again try to push out the tolling agreement if they cannot do the work in time. Do not let the creamery and Verizon push out the tolling agreement again. They have had over 16 months to be compliant and still they are not. I have expressed no matter of mere concern, but solely matter of substance, fact, and law. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Heather Muir, and I'm a neighbor of the proposed wireless telecommunication facility that's being proposed for the roof of the Petaluma Creamery. I'm here to speak against the wireless telecommunication facility based on the following: the residential character of our neighborhood, the historic nature of our neighborhood, and the recognized historic status of the Creamery facility itself. A wireless telecommunication facility would forever change the landscape of this residential and historic neighborhood. Many of us live in homes built in the turn of the last century, and it will adversely affect the historic experience of the Creamery itself. In addition to the conflict with the residential and historic nature of the neighborhood, this site is an extremely poor choice for the proposed wireless facility, given the Creamery operations, which are in direct conflict with the telecommunication facility use in terms of fire, safety, and environmental risks. Earlier this evening, you had two proclamations that are relevant to the operations. You mentioned in the fire prevention proclamation that if it's predictable, it's preventable. The fire risk at this facility meets these guidelines. In the Clean Air Day proclamation, air quality was referenced. Following on what previous speakers this evening have spoken to, the existing operation is out of compliance with air quality in terms of idling diesel trucks and the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. Thank you for representing our community and declining this project, and for your time this evening.
I attest and affirm the following statements are true, accurate, and within my personal knowledge. We need to set up a meeting with City Manager Peggy Flynn or Assistant City Manager Brian Cochran. We've been trying to get that meeting for over 3 months. When writing emails and calling Flynn and Cochran since June 17th and 18th, I can count 0 phone calls returned and only 1 terse email from each over the last 3.5 months. That's not very good, folks. Either the city of Petaluma is open to doing business with the public, important and equal stakeholders to the proposed Petaluma Creamery cell tower project, or the city is not. The evidence continually points to the fact that the city of Petaluma is closed to doing business with the public. If that is the case, then please do us all a favor and make it official by the city of Petaluma doing the following. Number 1, stop lying about it and pretending the city is open for business to the public, as the evidence proves otherwise. Number 2, pass a moratorium against processing any WTFs during national COVID-19 pandemic emergency, as it is unnecessary and dangerous to continue this activity because it is not essential, because the Petaluma city is not equipped to perform its duties and obligations to provide public safety in this matter. Look, we've been asking for things of the M group for calls for updates and 90-minute inspection of records, something we've had twice before. We get no response. I got 1 response from Jordan Green that confused my immediate public records request. It wasn't even a records request, it was an inspection request. Oh, she thought I was a CPRA and I had to wait some kind of 10-day timeline. That is not true. So I have written again on September 25th and again on September 28th, asking once again for a Zoom meeting to try to settle some of these problems, which are very, very chronic. Thank you.
Mayor Barrett, City Council members, City Manager Flynn, and City Attorney Danley. My comment here serves as supplemental to my written comment, which you received earlier today. In recent years, Americans have watched in dismay and shame as those who hold elected office routinely demonstrate dishonesty and egregiously thwart the law. Citizens expect better. At the Tuesday, September 22nd, City Council meeting, City Council member Kathy Miller very publicly and falsely asserted that I had filed a lawsuit against the city of Petaluma. And she has subsequently repeated that false statement in written correspondence. That statement is false. I did not file a lawsuit against the city. I consider City Council member Miller's statement defamatory. It puts me in a false light and threatens my reputation and livelihood. I ask for an immediate public retraction and for these defamatory statements to cease. I expect our city and our elected officials to, if not be honest, at minimum, act legally. Thank you.
Hi, I spoke about this before, but I just want people to understand in regards to the cell tower that's going up or that's proposed to go up and become a giant antenna farm at the Petaluma Creamery. There are roughly 1,500 children of all ages that go to school within a 5-mile radius. It's important to know that we're exposed to 100 million times more electromagnetic radiation than our grandparents were, and part of it is from cell towers and microwave antennas. Cell towers are being placed right next to schools where our most vulnerable population spends more than half their day learning, playing, and eating. Many experts in this field of study believe that the rise in autism, brain tumors, and leukemia in children is caused by the exposure to radiation at home and at school. It's because children are growing and changing at a rapid rate. Their brains and skulls are still developing, and that means they are more vulnerable to anything that can affect them at a cellular level. Radiation can do that. Babies and children would be particularly sensitive to the mutagenic and carcinogenic effects of the radio frequency radiation. It's therefore criminal to place all of these aerials on or near our schools. That was said by Dr. Helen Caldecott, pediatrician and co-founder of Physicians for Social Responsibility. We really need to think about what we're putting near our children's schools. This is a terrible idea. Please fight it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lendry. And Madam Mayor, that is the last hand we have raised, so I recommend we close general public comment.
Thank you, Patrick. I will close public comment at this time. And I know we can't discuss anything that was brought up in general public comment, but I really would like to ask staff to get back to the council about the noise issue at the creamery. I don't recall hearing that before from the public on this issue. So, and as we're getting ready to adjourn, we'd like to say goodbye to our Planning Commission Chair, Patrick Streeter, who is moving out of town and will be leaving his work on our Planning Commission, and we'll miss him very much. So good luck, Patrick. And with that, we are adjourned for the evening. Thank you.